Hola, mi amigo! Welcome back to the channel. I do have to be a little bit quiet because it is about 5 a.m. But welcome back to another video. We are going to be going through a full body session to get jacked. I know you've seen all of the simple stuff. Go in, train hard, but I'm going to go into a little bit of detail on what I do, why I do things, and just go into a lot of detail on the minute details if you are someone that knows you need to go to the gym but needs a little bit of structure, and you can follow along with this session. Honestly, it feels like back to the OG days. I used to do this 2 years ago. This weekend was the 2-year anniversary of me quitting my job and going full time with the coaching. What I used to do is I used to get up at 4 o'clock, be at the gym for 5, and then into work for a 7 to 3 shift, and then did my business work afterwards. So I'm paying homage to that. We're going early. It's Saturday. It's 5:15. It's time to lock in. And before we go into any of the lifting, guys, we need to warm up. We do need to warm up. I used to be the guy that used to say, I don't need a warm up. I'll be completely fine. Let's be real. You do not want to get into your 30s, into your 40s, and not be able to raise your arm above your head because you've not warmed up before training and you've got a massive injury and your flexibility and mobility is in the bin. As I'm getting older, I'm just about to turn 24. I'm still 23. I want the muscle. I want to build the muscle, but I also want to be able to move when I'm older. So we'll start off with a bit of blood flow by going for a walk, getting a few steps in. Basically, just getting the blood flow pumping, especially with a full body workout. I need to make sure everything is kind of primed before I kind of go in. So I'll do 10 minutes on the treadmill, just walking, warming up. And then we'll move on to actually warming up and doing a bit of movement. So when I'm warming up, especially when I'm going to do heavy weights, dynamic stretches is going to be your one for the warm up, and then your static stretching is going to be more for the cool down. I go through a little bit of, honestly, it is a football warm up. It is a classic football warm up. I do a few leg swings. I do 10 each side. There you go. Open the gate, close the gate. Real ones know. And then we then do a few squats, kind of warming up. That's kind of the lower body warmed up there, and then I'll do a few primer sets before going into my actual working sets, and then we move on to the upper body. So we start off by, I'll do a few dead hangs just to kind of get the shoulders and all kind of warmed up, really stretching the pecs out, and just kind of decompressing to get myself up to 6 foot, as I am 5'11". I don't go around telling everyone that I'm 6 foot. I used to, but not anymore. And then after we do that, we go on to the first exercise, and that is going to be a face pull. So when it comes to my training and when it comes to my approach to training, I used to be the guy 5-6 days in the week, bodybuilding style approach, and I ended up not enjoying the training. For one, I was losing progress, so I decided to cut it back down to 3 days a week. I did find that was a lot better for me. Now, 3 days a week, full body is perfect for me, especially because, I'll be honest, I think I do have an all-rounded pretty decent physique. I don't really have many weak points. I'd say just overall, just gaining muscle everywhere is kind of my goal. So I don't really need so much prioritizing to certain muscle groups because I'm just trying to grow overall. So the only thing that I do prioritize is my rear delts because I did neglect them for the longest time. So I am starting to really focus on rear delt, and I'll do a rear delt exercise at the start of every single full body session. So I'm hitting that 3 days a week. First exercise is going to be a face pull. So when it comes to warming up for exercises, in my opinion, I think a lot of people just really confuse this and they either jump straight into their working sets or they spend way too long warming up. In my opinion, you need 2 or 3 kind of warm-up sets, increasing the weight as you really get up. On every single exercise that I'm going to be doing today, it's going to be 1 to 2 sets. So I'm going for my heaviest set first. I'll go lower rep, and then I'll drop the weight and do a light weight, and then I'll do more higher kind of rep range. Once I've gone through that, I'll go into my first kind of working set with the face pull. What I'm really looking to do is really pull the shoulders back. You're really trying to drive the rope into your head, into your skull, and obviously taking every single set to pretty much to failure. And then once we've gone through the face pulls, I will then move on to legs, mainly because I want to get it out of the way. I'm not going to be lie. So I'll start off with a leg press, and I'm the exact same here. I'll do one warm-up set with just the weight, just kind of get moving, get a bit of blood flowing, and then I'll do one set with 100 and one set with 150, and then I'll go into my working set. And same again, I'll do 2 working sets. I did 2 working sets, 200 kilos for 13 to 14 reps. Ideally, I probably want to do a heavier set first and then back off. When it comes to actually your leg press, everyone does look into the most range of motion possible. In my opinion, you do not really need that much range of motion on the exercise, only your range of motion, and it's going to be form and keeping tension on the muscle you're actually trying to use is going to be so much more important. I've mentioned this guy before, but this is where I've learned a lot of my biomechanics stuff and how I'm doing certain exercises. Jonathan Warren, I've taken a few things from his leg training, from his leg press training, making sure you're keeping your feet nice and narrow and you're not letting the lower back kind of curve at the bottom either. So you're only going down to around 90 degrees, and that, as you can see, absolutely ruined me. And that's why I do 1 to 2 sets on every single exercise, because if I started doing 3 to 4, I would be afraid that I wouldn't be able to walk out of that gym. I did struggle to actually get out of the seat when I finished that set. Then we go move on to weighted chin-ups. And now we're starting to get a little bit warm, so I don't do as many warm-up sets. I'll do 1 warm-up set, either with no weight or just half the weight I'm going to be using on a working set. And then I'll do my 2 sets. The reason why I do chin-ups, I'll be absolutely real. 75% of it is I really do enjoy it. I don't like back training, to be honest. I really do enjoy doing chin-ups. It is good for the ego. Having weight hanging between your balls, there's something about it. There's something about it I really like it. And you're getting a bit of bicep activation in there, as well as obviously getting in the back. This one, I will range between probably 10 kilos in the first set and then 5 in the second. Obviously making sure you're getting a full range of motion. You're coming right down to the bottom and you're going up above the bar, chin above the bar on every single rep. Apart from the last couple, you can get away with not going above the bar. It's not too much of an issue. Yeah, we're then moving on to hamstring curl. I'll be honest, I've done a lot of hamstring training this week. I did 3 or 4 sets. I would try and aim for around 6 to 8 sets per muscle. And I've already done around 7 sets of hamstrings this week. So I ended up just doing 1 set to complete failure on this. And that was me done. On the hamstring curl, you're really looking to focus on driving them quads into the bench. And you want to keep that stacked. You want to keep your rib cage stacked. And you're obviously trying to push your abs into the actual pad to make sure your lower back isn't really rounded and you're using a lot of your lower back and making sure you're actually using your hamstrings. Coming down nice and slow, 3 to 4 kind of second eccentric on the way down. Absolutely rips up them hamstrings. And then we're going to move on to another exercise that I may or may not do for the ego. One, it is very, very good for obviously muscle growth. I do find when I do weighted dips that I really, really do find my triceps blow up using that. And 2, ego. Yeah, that's just one for the soul. That is just one for the soul. And I do pick exercises that I enjoy as well. When you're going into the gym and you want to be doing this for 5, 6, 7 years, you want to be doing exercises that you enjoy and you actually want to go in and progress on. And dips are one of them for me. So the way I do dips is the same I'll do any other exercise. Now we're pretty warmed up. I would do 1 warm-up set, half the weight. So I did 1 warm-up set with like 10 to 15 kilos on it. And then I do 2 working sets. With dips, I don't like going too high rep, mainly because it starts to hurt my shoulder after I get past a certain amount of reps. I will do 2 heavy sets where I'm doing 6 and below reps. So the first set I did 6 reps on the button, and then the next set I'm trying to aim for 6 again. I tried to hit 6 again, but I only end up doing 5. Obviously taking it to pretty much complete failure on both of them sets. Notice how every single set, the reps are really starting to slow down towards the end of the set. And that's the way your sets should be looking like. At the start, a little bit more comfortable and it should be moving pretty quick. But as the set goes on, you're really focusing on slowing down. I say really focusing, you should be slowing down the reps and not just stopping when it feels uncomfortable, because newsflash, it's supposed to be uncomfortable. That's the gym. That's how the gym works. And then we're moving on to a chest exercise. Usually I would do a press, but my training has been a little bit messed up this week. I trained with a lot of clients this week, so I was doing their program. So I've done a lot of the chest on Thursday. So I ended up doing a pec deck, one thing with pecs, another one from Jonathan Warren. This guy is getting a few shout outs in this, but he deserves it. He's the absolute GOAT. When it comes to chest training, again, range of motion isn't absolutely everything. You do not want to be coming all the way down. You do not want to completely flare that rib cage. You really want to keep your stack. You don't want to come back too far because you will start to feel it in your shoulder and your bicep. And what you're really focusing on is driving that bicep into the side of your chest. Notice how I've always got my eyes closed. I'm really focusing on that mind muscle connection, and I'm just imagining them cues when I'm going through them exercises. And I find I do connect with the exercise a lot better, and I'm able to push. Obviously, pump isn't absolutely everything, and mind muscle connection isn't actually everything. I find I can lock in a little bit more, and I do find I can push a little bit harder when I've got my eyes closed and I'm just focusing on just kind of moving the weight and using the actual target muscle that I'm trying to use. Again, 2 sets. I'll do a heavier set, and then I'll do a back off set with a low weight from a kind of higher rep, really focusing on the form and not letting the form get the better of me towards the end, taking it to complete failure. Then we're on to biceps. So for biceps, it does not need to be that complicated at all. All you need to have is one exercise with your arm in front of your body and one exercise with your arm behind your body. So an incline curl, incline dumbbell curl, and an incline and a preacher curl. Today I'm going to be doing a preacher curl. Again, one warm-up set, heavier set first time, and then I'll drop the weight sometimes and then go for a lighter set, focusing more on the form side of things and making sure I'm going to complete failure on that last set. And then we finish off with the lateral raises. A lot of people would bring their lateral raises further forward. I would if it's something that I was looking to prioritize, but I do think shoulders are my biggest strong point, and that is mainly down to when I was doing my chest exercises for years, my shoulders were taken over. So I have pretty overdeveloped shoulders. I put it last in my session because it's not something that I'm actively trying to really push to grow. So same again, as you know, with my thesis of training, it's going to be 2 sets, 2 complete failure, or 1 rep short of failure on the first set, and then 2 complete failure on that second set. But that is an example of a full body session that you could start doing from today. It doesn't need to be that complicated. It doesn't need to be like kind of mad. Obviously, you can see the programming's not absolutely mental. Anyone can go in and do that. I like to keep my training simple. I like to keep my programming simple. I don't really like to like kind of periodize everything. I will take a deload when I need to take a deload. Usually they become naturally when I've got things coming up, like life events coming up, social events coming up, then the deloads kind of do happen. But yes, if you liked that video and you would like to see me go into more detail on my other 2 sessions throughout the week, or if there is a split that you want to run, I will do a breakdown on what I would do and I'd run through the session for you. But yes, hope you enjoyed that video. Hope you found it useful. If you did find it useful, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Really, really helps push this video out to as many people as possible. But I will see you in the next one. Have a good one.